customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. This week, John sits down with Robin Robbins, CEO and President of Technology Marketing Toolkit. Robin is a serial entrepreneur and has an incredible story of where she came from to the empire she's built today in the IT industry. In this episode, you'll learn Robin's incredible backstory, including when she was homeless as a teenager, how Robin got into the MSP niche and has dominated it ever since, how Robin built Technology Marketing Toolkit into the #1 marketing firm in the IT industry, how every business needs to figure out how they can be in the monthly reoccurring revenue business, and how she's created an incredible value for her members. Now here's your host, John DiJulius.
Hello, revolutionaries, and welcome to another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. And today, I have a treat for you. My new favorite friend and CEO, president, client, Miss Robin Robbins. Robin Robbins started Technology Marketing Toolkit besides a bunch of other companies. And Technology Marketing Toolkit is focused on one singular focus to develop highly effective marketing and sales generating systems, specifically for MSPs, VARs, and IT service firms. Basically, companies selling outsourced IT service and support. Welcome, Robin.
Hey, John. Hey, everybody. Good to be here.
The reason why I have Robin, and I think the title of my podcast, and Robin doesn't know this, is going to be called Badass Boss Bitch. I mean, that's you, Robin. I've only known you since the beginning of this year. And man, I'm just like in awe. Every time I see you speak to your team, the leader you are, the businesses you've created, the visionary you are, a successful woman in what probably was and still is a man's corporate industry or world. I just think there's so many things that I can learn from you and that my audience can learn from you. So yeah, how do we like that title? Is that title okay?
Yeah, no, that's, we have our meetings and stuff, with the team. We have a title for me. It's a UPA, because I'm an unreasonable, picky asshole. That's what because unreasonable meaning I want things done right. I want them done a certain way. I want them done now. So that's the unreasonable. And picky is I'm picky about the details. I want to know, down to, and I know you're like this too, because services, you got to be able to have that big view of where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, but then you got to also be all the way down into the details, because the devil is in the details. So, and I just threw asshole on there just because I don't mind being called an asshole, or a bitch or what, whatever. So.
You're just powerful, and I don't mean in a derogatory way, the badass boss bitch, that term that's out there, but you are so powerful, and it's great to see. But your clients who we've been working with and your team who we've been working with just, would walk through a fire for you, and I just love it. How did all this get started? Where did Robbins come from prior to, I think 2000?
Yeah, no, I always say that I'm a very unlikely entrepreneur because, I started, we could go way back. I had a GED. I never finished high school, had to go to work. I was homeless when I was 14 for a brief period of time. And, so I got into sales because when you really don't have a degree of any kind, the only job someone will give you is a crappy sales job, which is what I got. And I excelled at it. Long story short, I got good at selling and realized that I liked it because it was the one profession where I could control my income. If I wanted a raise, my raise became effective the minute I did, right? So I like that about sales, right? And so, I fell into the marketing because I discovered a man named Dan Kennedy, which you may be familiar with. And Dan really was the first person who helped me understand how marketing is really sales multiplied, because most people don't think about it that way, and was very, I would say the person I've learned most from about marketing would be Dan Kennedy. And so with my sales background and learning the marketing, I did go to work for a couple marketing agencies. So I did have that background as well. What happened was in 99, really like kind of 98, 99, I was working for a marketing firm in Nashville. And, I got fired from my job and I had to eat. I mean, that was like literally what happened. And it was right after 9/11. It was like Christmas time, New Year's, they walked me out of the office with the box in hand. That's all. I mean, I wouldn't sign a contract that they wanted me to sign after working there for a year. And so they said, you sign it or you're gone. So I said, I'm gone. And so, I had to eat. So I started just doing one-on-one marketing consulting for anybody who could fog a mirror and wave $1 at me. And, and somewhere along the way that year, I figured out that maybe I could do this on my own. But I didn't. Were
you already starting to focus on IT industry?
No, not at all. I mean, like I said, anybody who could fog a mirror and wave $1. So I was doing just pure word of mouth, hustling, networking, that sort of thing. And I was helping out basically, I had a trucking company. I had an MRI imaging center that I helped with marketing. I did work with a couple of different web content sites. I did a trucking company, a medical billing, MRI, a school, like a certification company that did self-test software. It was all over the map, right? And the whole time when I started, I was still looking for a job. I was just like, I'll hustle anything I can get to eat, pay the rent. But then I was still kind of looking for a job.
This was just a temporary transitional
job,
you thought.
And then somewhere in that first year, it occurred to me that I might be able to actually make it, and what happened was one of the consulting clients a relationship I had was with an organization called CompTIA. If you're in the IT industry, you know who CompTIA is. And I sold them on hiring me to do a 6-month monthly teleseminar, because webinars weren't even a thing. So a teleseminar for their members on marketing. And their members were IT firms and certification schools and whatnot. And, over that 6-month period, I started to get a client here, a client there. People kind of call me up after a teleseminar and say, hey, can I hire you to help me with my website? Or can I hire you to help me with my marketing or whatever? And so I picked up one client, I picked up another. And, before I knew it, I had like 6 or 8 IT companies as clients. And I started figuring out, what worked for one of them. If I learned something with client A, I would take it to client B, C, D, E, and F. And then I'd learn something from client B and take it back to A, B, so I kind of realized maybe this is my niche. And so it was it was in 2002, because I went independent 2001, and 2002 is when I incorporated Technology Marketing Toolkit. And I picked the name just because technology marketing was the keyword I was trying to optimize on, and that was already taken. So I couldn't take technologymarketing.com. And I just threw toolkit on the end, because that's basically what I was selling, was a kit of marketing tools for people. And it's just, from 2002, it's taken off.
It has taken off. Help me explain to the audience how big, and you guys have helped over 10,000 IT service firms. Mm-hmm. To explain kind of in the elevator pitch what you guys do, because it's amazing.
Yeah. So, my vision for the company and how we started it really was birthed out of, I know how to do marketing. So number one, you got to know who your customer is. And so it took me a year to figure out who was going to be my customer. And when I finally decided on IT firms, at the time, MSP was just kind of emerging. VARs, meaning most of the IT guys, they buy some kind of hardware piece, and a value-added resellers, they sell you the device and then they charge you services to install it. So managed services really wasn't even a thing yet. Yeah, so we started selling this tool set because working for a marketing agency and I worked for two and got to know the agency world pretty well during that time working for two different agencies. Most marketing agencies are not what you might think. For those of you listening out there, when you hire a marketing firm, if you're a small business owner, you hire a marketing firm because you think that they're going to help you with marketing, which means in your mind to get new customers, generate more leads. So if I spend $10 on marketing, I want $100 back tomorrow. That's what most business owners want. But most marketing firms are not, that's not what they are. They are glorified fulfillment shops. So basically they will design your stuff. They will buy media for you, radio ads, TV ads. They'll source lists for you. They'll do the graphic design. They'll print the brochures. They'll mail the stuff. They'll get you the list. I mean, they might design the website. They might set up the SEO plan. But really what they are, they're just media and fulfillment shops, right? They're not strategy. So, they'll talk strategy, like, okay, well, who's your customer? Like, what kind of marketing should you be doing? And so they put something together. But like the marketing firm, the last marketing firm that I work for, and I'm going somewhere with this, so just stay with me because you're like, how did I start? So The last marketing firm, just to give you an idea, that we're going back over 20 years ago, and email marketing was just getting its foothold. I mean, you think about it, like Overture was the search and Google didn't even exist, right? And so, email was just starting to get a foothold. And we had a client in that agency that was a assisted living facility. And so this is for older people who, they're not so feeble that they belong in a nursing home and they want their independence. So they put them in these sort of condos and there's assisted facility. It was like this new concept. And they came to us and they said, we want to do marketing. And so the guy I didn't sell it to him, but it was one of my colleagues there, sold this guy this entire digital marketing plan of email, driving to a landing page, pay per, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, this will never work because your customer who they were trying to sell to, the way the ads were written was not to the young family, the sons and daughters of these elderly people, but to the elderly people themselves who, I mean, a lot of people even today, like my mother-in-law barely knows how to spell email, right? And this, so you go 20 years ago, I'm like, this will never work because it's the wrong media and the message.
Have their target market confused.
Well, their target market doesn't even have an email address.
Right. So I'm like you said, I believe because my mother-in-law, I just put in an assisted living, right? Their target market isn't my mother-in-law, it's me, right? Yeah.
100%. But even then there's that, but that's when the way this company, they were a little bit different. They were trying to market to people who were recently widowed women or something like that. And they go, it's like my aunt, right? When her husband passed away, she said, you know what? I don't want to be living on my own, but she's not feeble. Like she can still get around and stuff. So she actually was looking into an assisted living facility where they're not, so anyway, the way the marketing, they were setting it up, they were targeting older people who were not medically disabled, who were kind of thinking, you know what, I'm getting old enough. I don't want to be taking care of the house. It would be nice if there was someone around to kind of help me with groceries and cleaning. And if I did need an emergency help, there's somebody right there that can help me. I mean, that was kind of like the concept, right? So the marketing, the message was not to the son or daughter. The message was to the older person saying, before your ass ends up in a nursing home, this is a good transition for you. That was who the market was. And I'm like, those people don't even have email addresses, right? And we didn't have the sophisticated targeting we have today. It was like, the way they were gathering email addresses is they'd say, this was the whole shtick. You would get something like a diamond necklace and you would be saying, you know what, we're going to give away, opt in and give us your email address and you could enter to win a diamond necklace. And so they were getting these, so there was no sophistication. And I look at this campaign, this client is spending thousands of dollars. And I said, there's no way this is going to work. You know that, I know that. And the CEO looked in my, because we were in a meeting and he said, stop trying to help coach clients. Cause that's what I was always doing, trying to do the strategy. And he was literally reprimanding me in front of everybody. He said, stop doing that. I want you to just put your effort on, go get us another client. And I knew in that minute, because there were other things leading up to that. I'm like, this is wrong. This is not, I don't like this. This is lying to people. This is taking advantage of people who don't know what good marketing is. And so when I started the company, I wanted to start something that really was an education firm for the small business owner who is trying to figure out marketing. And they're going to, now today they do the same thing. They go to a Facebook expert, they go to an SEO expert, they go to a LinkedIn person, they go to a company that does telemarketing. And what they do is they end up writing checks all along the way. Try this, and then they try that, and that doesn't work. So they try this, and the shiny new penny, whoever shows up with the latest, greatest thing. And they just end up writing checks all along the way, getting more and more frustrated, more broke. They're not getting anywhere. And it's completely dysfunctional. So I wanted to start something. I wanted to give clients a franchised marketing system. Because I thought if I could document a plan, a system with all the tools, and we teach market, message, media, math. Those are the 4 M's. If I show you how to pick a good market, get a good list, what is the message? What is the offer? Then we come up with the media plan, and then we make sure the math works. If we did all that and I gave them that as a blueprint, number one, I could sell it for a lot cheaper than one-on-one private consulting, so it would be affordable. The second advantage is if I put it into like a program that they could go through on their own pace, because after consulting with clients, some implement faster than others. You know this, John. I mean, some people like they implement like this, and some people like they're still in chapter 1 5 years later, right? So I needed something that they could easily consume, that was documented playbook, and here's how you do marketing with everything tested and verified. And that's where the Technology Marketing Toolkit came from, because the idea was, let me give you what good marketing is, the tools, the templates, and so forth, and not even sell media. So I'm not here to sell you a Facebook ad. I'm not here to sell you an SEO plan. I'm not here to sell you even a website. I'm here to show you how to make all of that stuff productive. So when you do spend money, first of all, you know what you're doing. And second of all, you don't get taken by some salesperson who say, we're going to get you more leads. We're going to revamp your website for $20,000 and make it responsive and search friendly and all these things. And you spend 20 grand and you spend a lot of work. And 6 months later, a year later, you figure out, you know what, I still don't have any clients coming in the door. So that's why I started.
I guess, because I've been through the experience on the other end of hiring these marketing firms. They can get me leads, but they might not be the leads that would buy me, right? And so, there's a mismatch. You're calling and we're not right fit. And just because you got me leads, that they aren't the right kind of leads. So you're actually wasting my time, and keep me away from doing anything productive in terms of my business because I'm chasing these not good leads.
100%. Yep. And we just started recently in the last 4 years. We just started doing more done for you because our clients just demand us to do it. Because I've always kind of stayed out of that. I'm going to give you the blueprint, the map of how to do that. You go buy the Facebook ads, you go buy the SEO plan. We're moving into doing done for you now. We're into actually doing fractional marketing managers now, which is our best selling thing. But again, I think that there's a big void for small business owners and somebody to teach them, here's what good marketing is, here's how it should perform, and here's how you do it right. And it's not just, people think in marketing, they go, well, what should we do? When we get an idea, we need more clients. They go right to media. They go, well, should we do an SEO plan? Should we do Google pay-per-click? Should we hire a salesperson? Like they go to this, like these pot shots, these random acts. And they're disconnected. They're without any strategy. They don't know who their customer is. They don't know what the message is. That's the other thing. Like there's no strategy. When we show up in front of that customer, what are we going to say so that customer will pay attention to us, and not just pay attention to us, attracting the right fit ones, repelling the wrong ones. But then how do we set up a marketing system that pre-sells, pre-qualifies them, and automates it to the best we can. So it takes out the manual labor. Like we got to figure out that message. We got to figure out what are the steps in the sales process. We got to figure out, why should somebody do business with us? Most people can't even answer that. Well, if you can't even answer the question, why should somebody do business with you? Over the million other things.
Well, that's what I say. They think they can answer it, but it sounds the exact same of their 25 competitors, right?
Exactly.
There's no difference between what you just said and what everyone else is saying on their websites.
Yeah, we're better, we're faster, we're speedier, we hire good people, we're honest, blah, blah, blah. And everybody, we live in a hyper competitive world. There is no shortage of anything.
A lot of noise.
These days, you know what I mean?
Some of my takeaways is, like every great entrepreneur, you came in and righted a wrong. with what was out there, right? The marketing companies weren't doing what you saw that they could. My other takeaway is you're unemployable, which I believe most entrepreneurs are, right? I mean, I couldn't work for anyone. I mean, that's just the nature of our business, right? I mean, we kind of what you explained earlier, your attention to detail and you're fanatical, and most people wouldn't, tolerate that from an employee, but that's why we got to where we are. Then you gravitated towards your niche, which has to be hard because like me, I'm like that, where one of my favorite quotes, it's my quote around why we're in the business we do, I think it's by Jerry Garcia, is you don't want to be known as the best at what you do. You want to be known as the only one that does what you do. And that's why I've always been obsessed with just customer experience, right? And we turn down a significant percentage of leads that want us to, come in and talk about sales or leadership or motive. No, that's just not us. Call Jack Daly, call, all these other great people. But I want people to think of one thing when the name, the DiJulius Group. And so that's what you did. But it's hard because you do get opportunity. Listen, I bet you all my listeners right now want to call TMT and Technology Marketing Toolkit and see if they can hire you to do their marketing, and they're not in IT industry. So talk about that decision, because I know as an entrepreneur, that's hard to say no to so many things because it would jeopardize and compromise. So talk about why you did that and how you steered away from being all things to all industries.
Yeah, well, when you say you're all things to all people, you're nothing to nobody, because you're like, to use a Zig term, you're a wandering generality. Nobody knows who you're for, what you're for. We live in a society today is all about custom solutions. People want something that's exactly designed for me. I mean, that's what Starbucks, you go into Starbucks, you can throw any kind of crazy order at them and they nail it. I mean, more times than not, right? But that's where we are. And I get the same thing because my clients come to me and they say, Robin, you understand, I'm afraid to specialize. Now, niching is one. There's a couple different ways you can specialize. So niching, which is the way I specialize. My niche is, there's the industry niche, which is MSPs, VARs, MSPs, right? But then there's also the category niche, which is marketing.
Marketing, yes.
And so
you double niched.
It's like, it's like a hyper niche, if you will. I mean, and if we wanted to even be more specific, it's marketing, it's membership. The way we do it is through
That's what I want to get to next, because I love that what you did there. So yeah, we're gonna definitely get into the membership model.
But what you find is when you focus, when you really know who your customer is, you can tailor you should tailor your entire business around that customer, because your customer defines everything in your business. It defines your mission statement. It defines your marketing plan. So, if I am marketing to MSPs, I am not on Yelp because they're not on Yelp. I'm not running billboards. I'm not doing radio. I'm not doing TV. I know who my customer is, and I know exactly how to talk to them, where they are, how to reach them, what events they attend, who they listen to.
Right.
Because I know that, my marketing, my message, my offers, my products, my services, who I hire, like I have to hire with coaches. I can't just hire somebody up the street. I got to hire somebody who's been successful as an MSP before. And so that even directs my hiring, right? And so, but when you know your customer, what actually happens is the opposite, because everyone thinks, well, if I'm too specific, it'll, I'll get fewer customers.
I'll narrow my audience, but
I'll pigeonhole myself.
You could be the King Kong of that audience. I love it. I mean, that's what we do. Yeah. I like you. I'm all about consuming. I want to consume more content on my topic than anyone in the world. Read, talk to. But if I have to come up with a social media presentation next week for a client, now I got to consume that. And it's taken away from consuming what I know best, customer experience, right? And so just like you, it's narrow and deep. But then now our customers can trust. No one knows more about MSP marketing than Technology Marketing Toolkit, because they're not seeing you out there doing it for restaurants and all the other industries.
Well, yeah. So let me give you an example. So if I was going to run an ad for marketing and I said, hey, we're a marketing company, we're going to help you get more customers. Well, I'm competing with every other marketing person in the world, right? Now, the minute I start saying, if I run ads now and say, we specialize in helping MSPs put strategic marketing plans in place that help them to get 1 to 2 new MRR clients a month. See, that ad, I will get 50 times the response because the message is so tightly matched to the market, right? And because I know my customer, I can be specific like that. And if you're not an MSP and you don't want to get 1 to 2 new clients a month, you're not going to sign up for and I don't want you to sign up for
You don't want the wasted time saying, sorry, swipe left.
Exactly. So, and I think it's just a mistake people make. They think if I narrow who my customer is, I'll get fewer opportunities, but actually the opposite happens because you become very magnetic, very attractive. You can get the attention of the small pool of customers because you want to jump up and down in a puddle, not the ocean. All right. Because if you're most of the people listening, I don't know, maybe you're like me, I have a limited amount of marketing budget I can spend. And I don't want to, if my market is 1 billion people or whatever it is, if it's that big, I mean, there's no way you can even cost effectively do marketing to them because it's a small business owner. I mean, I'll tell you a story. I had a client who comes to me and he says, I need to get more customers in the door. And I said, great. Well, who is your customer? Tell me about who that is. And he said, well, anybody who owns a computer that's in a 10-mile radius of business that owns a computer 10-mile radius or a 50-mile radius of my office, right? I said, great. How many of those are there? No idea. I said, all right, let's do a little research. And I think we found out there was 50,000 in his market area, big area, right? 50,000 businesses that owned a computer, right? And I said to him, okay, great. So there's 50,000 of these guys out here. All right. What's your marketing budget? He goes, I might be able to squeeze out $300 a month. And I'm like, dude, all right. If we did a postcard, just a postcard to those 50,000 and made one telemarketing call, I mean, your marketing budget right there, there's $100,000 right there, right? You got $300 a month. How about we narrow it down to the 50 you want right now? Because then maybe we can, with your budget, your energy, your skills, we can focus on 50, maybe 500, right? Let's carve that out and build that list and build a message for them and be focused. I'd rather you mail, something or communicate 10 times to those people rather than once, right? Because the repetition you need.
Right.
And again, most people don't think this way. They don't know how big their market is. They don't know they can't articulate the customer. They can't articulate what they're really selling either. That's the other thing. What are you really selling here? And most people think, well, I'm selling, I don't know, I'm selling calculators. Well, what are you really selling? Well, I'm selling calculators, dummy. What do you mean? What am I selling?
Robert, I haven't seen a calculator in 10 years. You have a calculator on your desk.
Yes, always.
Isn't that what the iPhone's for?
I don't use my phone for stuff.
Oh, good.
That's
smart. More distractions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I need a math problem. I don't want to pick up my phone and possibly be distracted by Facebook or something.
Right.
I really don't.
TikTok? Are you on TikTok?
No. I'm not on TikTok. I'm in the IT industry. I'm not on TikTok. And if you are, I'm warning all of you, get off of it now. Okay.
I'm not.
Yeah. But the thing is, what are you really selling? And I'm just using it well, what should you be selling to sell that calculator? And they're like, well, what do you mean? What should, what I'm selling is marketing, right? But what I'm really selling is I'm selling the anti-anxiety pill, because what my clients are anxious about is they're tired, they're exhausted, they're not making money. Business is chaotic. They hate all their customers. They're working their asses off and they're still not making any money and they're not making any progress. Okay. So what I'm selling is the ticket out of that. That's what I'm really selling.
Because they also have the fear of, are we going to make it to 6 months 100%. Next year? And you're selling them peace of mind, a future, because you're going to help them create a machine that drives traffic. Hopefully I could, as your client, promote someone to take my place so I don't have to be in the weeds every day. Yeah. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Again, you have to think about what are you really selling? So for me, when I hired your organization to help us, if you really want to know what my motivation is, it's personal ego. Because what I'm really buying is when I stand on that stage, I just was at an industry conference. when I'm walking down that hallway, the last thing I want to have is somebody walk up to me and say, your people are screwing up. They're not returning my calls. They're screwing, because now that's a reflection of me personally. Now you could argue, man, you shouldn't have your self-worth tied into that. It's people but see, that to me is a personal, if I stand on stage and our mission is to inspire excellence, which it is, I always say this to my team, you don't inspire excellence with a poster on the wall. You inspire excellence by being excellent. That's why we watch the Olympics, because we're watching a superhuman feat happening in front of us. And that's inspirational. That's awe-inspiring, right? So if our mission is to build a community of success-minded entrepreneurs that inspires excellence, encourages collaboration, expands the capacity of all members to achieve great things, the first thing we got to do is inspire excellence. And we cannot inspire excellence if we suck, because this is marketing. I always say service marketing starts with the service. So I can't send you a sales letter that says how wonderful we are, and then I call your office and nobody picks up. If they do, they sound like they're having a bad day. They don't know what they're talking about. They send you the voicemail. They don't return your call. They're snarky and snarly. So your marketing just got wasted because you actually got a customer to call you. And then it all fell apart because your team wasn't able to handle it.
Right.
So you see what I mean? So all that is marketing. People don't think that that's marketing, but that's exactly what it is.
No. And so that's where I was going to go next, where we talked about your niche, right? You only provide the IT industry with the marketing toolkit. However, you add so much value to your clients, your members, which are really why I go next, because that business model is just incredible. You teach your clients to create members, and in doing it, you're creating members, which is the greatest lesson. I'm obsessed with your business model. But the other thing, I'm going in two different directions right now. But the other thing is, while you won't go and try to teach them on necessarily the sales or the be better speakers or to be better customer experience, you bring in these resources to your clients, and you're just always adding more value to their monthly membership, that they become so loyal. And that's the thing, because I talk to your members all the time. And so you've created this membership levels where everyone is trying to get to the next level. They're jealous that they're not in the in group. So I want to transition to your business model. You correct me if I'm wrong. You do two things. You teach your clients, your IT companies, to create monthly reoccurring revenue, right, and you have it. And that's working with you. I'm so jealous. I go back and say, we got to do what Robin Robbins is doing, this monthly reoccurring revenue model. So I love that. I love the whole space you're in.
Yeah, everybody who's listening to this, I know some of you are going to say, well, I'm not in a membership organization, or I'm a restaurant owner. I can't do that. Let me tell you, you absolutely can.
You can be.
I'll tell you what, when the pandemic hit, right now, I'll give you a perfect example. So, the pandemic hits, and I go out to restaurants. I spend a lot of money at restaurants. And when the pandemic hit and restaurants start open again, not one restaurant, and I'm talking, these are high-end steakhouses. I bring clients in, we spend a lot of money. Not one of them reached out to me again now to try and get me back. So I'm a lost customer. The hair salon, I know you got your background with hair salons. There's a hair salon I go to every single month.
You're a VIP. You're a VIP.
If they came to me and said, if the restaurant came to me and said, Robin, look, I'll tell you what, because there's one restaurant I love in Franklin, and I never can get in. It's Cork and Cow. I got to schedule it 3 months out. And it's because they're short. If they had come to me and said, look, we want to sell you a membership card where you're going to pay $300 a month, and it's a year plan, and this guarantees you, I don't know, we'll call you every
preferred
week.
Reservations,
whatever.
Tuesday night when you want them.
Use it, you can give it to a client, you can transfer it to somebody else. We hold your table, you get a free appetizer, I don't know, whatever. Right. I would buy it. And
you pay for it up front. Yeah.
There was a plastic surgeon. I don't know who it was. It was her. I was talking to another marketing friend of mine, and they have a plastic surgeon who just pitched a membership, $25,000 a year. And you can get as many Botox and facials and whatever you want for the year. and had I think it was 10 or 12 people sign up the minute they offered it, right? So everyone who's listening, what you want to think about is recurring revenue. How do you put people on some kind of recurring plan so that revenue is guaranteed? I mean, that's why of the month clubs, and you see the Birchbox and the BarkBox and all those companies, and the meal plan companies, they all
Chewy's is a membership. I mean, everyone's a membership.
Yes. Black Rifle Coffee. My husband buys coffee. It's on a subscription. It's on a membership. So I don't care. I'm trying to think if there's a single business where you couldn't sell maybe a funeral business. That might be a little bit morbid. I'm not sure everyone would sign up for a. Right. So
correct me if I'm wrong. There's so many benefits to this, right? Now you have basically guaranteed revenue. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen next month, next year, if the weather's bad, whatever. Now you almost with certain know that you call it monthly reoccurring revenue.
MRR, baby.
MRR, right. And you teach your clients how to get that. So you got that's guaranteed. But the other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, most businesses, when they try to sell, they sell at a multiple of EBITDA, right? And 3 to 5 times, which ain't shit, right? For most businesses. But I believe membership customer, things in SaaS, they're a multiplier by top line revenue, which is crazy.
Well, because, when you have that guaranteed recurring revenue, when someone's buying your business, that's what they're buying is your revenue stream, your customer base. Yes. And so if you say, well, look, 90% of our customers are on a recurring basis, whether it's a CPA, a financial, look, lawyers. What was that company? They sold a membership to get legal services, right? And all lawyers hate them and they think they're crap. Well, it doesn't matter. There's millions of people signing up for it, right?
Right.
Why don't you get in that business and just do it right instead of pissing and moaning somebody's doing it, doing it wrong? LegalZoom started. I think LegalZoom started out with the contracts, but there was another, Prepaid Legal, I think was the name of it. They started years ago. So there's not a business out there that can't have some component of what they do on a recurring basis. And the other thing I would say, John, is don't just sell it month to month. Here's another little thing that I've learned, and we've changed recently in my business. Everything we sell is 1 or 3 year contracts, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contracts. Because if you go month to month, what happens is the minute somebody gets bored, the minute somebody decides they need a little extra Christmas money, the minute they'll cancel. And so you sell them into a 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year agreement. And by doing that, you lock in that revenue. And then you say to the customer, look, because you're going to sign up, if you do one, like for us, a toolkit we sell right now, if you do a 1 year, it's $397 a month. If you do a 2 year, it's $297 a month. We don't currently offer a 3 year on that, but we're just kind of, but what I'm saying is, so membership, you sign up, you get a discount, it's longer term. And that's really a key. If you're a business owner, if you're in sales, having that, knowing that every month, the month's going to come up, the first of the month, you've already got X thousands of dollars in contracts that is automatically going to come in. See, now your business, you can actually do better service, John, because now I know that money's going to come in. I can hire people. Yeah. I know if I add X number of members,
you're not as seasonal, right? You're not as seasonal.
Exactly. And I can smooth out my revenue. I can smooth out my income. I can deliver better services to my customers. My valuation of my business goes up. Cats lie down with dogs. Your hair starts growing back. You suddenly become thinner and sexier to everybody when you have recurring revenue. So yeah, it's a really, really important key thing, and everybody can do it.
You're listening to the Customer Service Revolution podcast. You've probably read all of John's books, so you're obviously passionate about the customer experience. Have you ever considered a career as a customer experience coach? The DiJulius Group can train and license you in the same methodology that our consultants use. It's the same framework that's being used in companies like Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Nestle, and the Ritz-Carltons. Our Coach Camp gives you the tools to start your own business as a CX coach. If you're ready to invest in your future and build a business around your passion for the customer experience, contact Claudia at thedijuliusgroup.com or visit cxcoaching.com.
And so you do such a good job. And I always say this, if you look at the people that hire the DiJulius group, it's the opposite. Like, why isn't Spirit Airlines calling us, or, all these other shit companies? But it's the Ritz, it's Chick-fil-A, it's Technology Marketing Toolkit, who's already crushing it with their clients, members, but you're obsessed with that. And you add so much value. So some other really unique things. You put on at least 4 events a year.
Oh, why not?
Yeah. And I'm speaking.
Baby, I had 4 events just this month.
Right. Right. So the big events I know of that I'm speaking at every quarter for your members, and you have the boot camp that brings in 1,600 people, and it's crazy. And the speakers are crazy who you bring in, but it doesn't look like it's cost effective. It's like, oh my God, like just your speaker lineup, what that costs, and the event and the place you have it. You have the 4 Seasons in Austin, and you have it at all these awesome places, and you give away a freaking what kind of car was it?
Aston Martin.
You give away an Aston Martin to one of your members. So on the surface, it's like, what, is she nuts? But then when you get behind the scenes, you're like, there is brilliance to all this. So explain why you put on all these events for your clients, bring in speakers they can never afford. $25,000 to $75,000 speakers, and you give away an Aston Martin.
The speakers now are like 100 to 150,000. I mean, we have Mike Rowe, which was 250. Peyton Manning. So the speaker fees are now up. But the key to it, again, is there's a couple keys to this. Okay. So number one is the recurring revenue and the membership, because when you have hundreds, thousands of people paying you every month, you can afford to have a Peyton Manning. Now, when I first started, I couldn't afford to have Peyton Manning or Mike Rowe or Kevin O'Leary and stuff. Like, I couldn't afford it, right? So as we acquired more members, we reinvested in the experience. Because here's what I found. The reason we do the events, and now I'm really giving you my secret sauce, right? Okay, so there's a couple components you always have to have, okay? One thing that you got to have is you got to have a shiny new penny. Something that's new, exciting, new template, a new campaign, a new spreadsheet. You got to have something new. Okay, that's number one. Okay. Number two, you got to have some fundamentals. In what we teach, we always have to go over some kind of basics, some fundamentals, recharge them, get them refocused. And that's specific to the coaching business. But, the shiny penny, something new. I mean, that's part of the reason why people sign up for a Birch box or a Bark box or a Wine of the Month. There's an element of serendipity and surprise, right? Like, I don't know what's going to come in that box, but it's going to be, it's kind of like the prize in the Cracker Jack box. Like, right. So you always have to have something new and exciting. We have the celebrity because we found that we found it almost by accident. So we had Robert Herjavec come and speak at one of our events, our quarterly producers club. And people came to us and said, this was the absolute best event we've ever done. And the only thing we did different was we had a celebrity. And I said, all right, we're having one every event. Like, we have to have somebody who is like a celebrity, somebody who's really. Just
to be clear, I'm not the celebrity, correct?
Oh, no, come on now. But that's the other component too. So we bring in, they're not celebrities, but they're good content speakers, right? Somebody who can, because people want it. Business owners, when they come into an event, they don't want just fluff. They got to actually go away with some meat. So you're the meat in the sandwich. You know what I mean? So that's don't. No,
I'm totally teasing. We do the same thing at our event. We got to bring in the people that'll make them cry and make them laugh. But at the end of the day, they better have notes on paper that they can go back and implement.
That's another thing. So we always try to have some sort of motivational speaker. If you think about it. Now, sometimes that's me. Sometimes I just deliver my served cold kick in the ass, right? And they like it. Having somebody who hits on the emotional side. The other thing is the experience from the food and the beverage and just the registration. And we have a virtual component and all the experience, because when you have, and this is the problem with the pandemic, a lot of people didn't realize who were in the event industry. They found out that they had nothing, because when you have a virtual event, you strip out the whole experience.
The community, the community. That's what you're building. That's what I see. Yeah. You build a community. Exactly. It's a reunion every quarter. They're more jazzed to see each other than they are even the speakers, right? I mean, it's this tight-knit community that they wouldn't even think of dropping out because they're in the in crowd.
Yeah, it's cheers. Everybody knows your name, right?
Yes.
So you've got to build that into your community as well. I don't care if you're doing a wine of the month club, whatever, get people together, that are like-minded, who have similar goals and ambitions and similar problems, and that you form a community. So there's the celebrity, there's the shiny penny, there's the experience. We always have a party. You got to have a good party because we had last summer, we had a white party. We took them downtown Nashville. It was a rooftop bar. We rented the whole thing out. We had performers in the pool. We had special drinks. We had music. We had this DJ. Everybody wore white and we had photography. I mean, it was a blast. People still talk about that. So you got to have that experience.
The other best thing that you do, it blows my mind. I'm so jealous because I only put on one event a year, and you do it well. Maybe you do it, but the theme, right?
That's our annual
Market Father or whatever it was, and the video of you singing or the Gambler, that stuff is just so cool. It is badass, and people get into that. And I don't know if that comes from you, but your theming and just the whole concept is so cool.
Yeah, so that's our annual event, and every year we do have a theme, and it makes it just people want to have fun. You can either educate people in a dry, boring classroom, and we all had that experience of the Ferris Bueller. The kids are sitting there drooling and they're bored out of their minds. And when people are in that kind of state, they don't learn anyway. You got to have fun. You got to give them the content, but you have to have fun and entertainment. It's the experience. It's the whole thing. So when we do our events, we know that every single event, what we're doing is selling the next event, because one bad event, and that's why we also work really hard to get people to come, even though they're paying. Even though they're paying us, and if they stayed home, we'd make more money because then we wouldn't have to pay for food and beverage and workbooks. We work really hard to get people to come in.
A long game because they're going to keep on seeing value, what they got from it, and they want to go to the next one.
Yeah, the minute
I don't want to miss this though. The Aston Martin, right? That just seems like crazy. Why are you giving away, this beautiful 6-figure car? So explain that, because I love it. It was so cool, because I got to be a judge for it.
Right. So the main reason we started doing it, the reason we have the contest, it's to get people to actually, 1, implement, and then 2, report on what they got. Because as a business owner, testimonials, case studies are what we live and breathe.
The contest for our audience is a client can win this Technology Marketing Toolkit if they are selected as Better Your Best.
Yes. I learned it from Joe Polish, and he and Bill Phillips, actually, he learned this from Bill Phillips, Body for Life guy. Now, what Bill Phillips would do is he would have these contests. You have to buy his supplements, his workout plans, and you would enter the contest. And it's just like ours. Our members, we give them the marketing plans and the templates, and they enter the contest and they submit, here's the marketing I did and the results I got. It's like the before and after pictures, right?
Yeah, here's what I did with your stuff.
Right.
And this is the results I had. And they're giving you these awesome testimonial and case studies.
Right. And then what that helps is then we use those so we have 12 semifinalists, and then we pick 5 finalists and 1 winner, and the winner gets to be spokesperson and ambassador to the industry for my company.
They all present the 5 finalists or 4 present them at your big show.
Yes.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, now everyone in the audience is saying, shit, that could be me. And the people who haven't joined that level membership, they want to say, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Look at their success.
I got to be in it. Right. So it's social proof. It's inspiration. It's learning and education.
FOMO.
But it's learning and education too, because I can sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face, here's what you got to do for marketing. But until you see a peer of yours, like someone who's very similar in revenues, age, demographic, you look at this person who's just like you and you go, holy shit, they just added 1.2 million in their business.
He's no smarter than me. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that dummy. He's like, I hate that guy. Look at him. But so what it does is it makes you realize all of a sudden it melts away all the excuses. So we pick, they all submit. we pick 12 semifinalists, and we interview all the 12 semifinalists. We pick 5 finalists. They present on stage at boot camp, and the audience votes.
And they create a video for you, right?
They videos, we do interview, and then what we do is we take their case studies and we use them to teach. So every month we interview a new one of those people, and we use their essay and the stuff that they submitted, and we do a webinar for the rest of our clients saying, here's what I did, here's how I used it. And it just creates like inspiration. It creates, and the other thing is my members take the stuff we give them and make it better. So you're getting people who want to implement and innovate and come back to you and say, look, here's what we're doing. So it's a very, very powerful
and
thing.
They only come from your producer club members, which is kind of like your platinum tier, correct?
Right. Now that's the car, but we run contests all the time. So we have an accelerators club. So we have an accelerators implementer of the year, and we give them a Rolex watch or something like that. So it's not as big as a prize. But we give that away.
But let me ask you this: so I watched David this year win the car, the Aston Martin, and I also heard the other 4 stories of their success. And if I'm not a producer club member, but that right there probably justifies the car, because how many people on the site increase their level of membership to producer club? That's really where it pays. Hey, there's so many benefits to this. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so smart because it's not just a marketing activity, although it is.
Right.
It gets people excited. They rally behind their person, the groups, because we have them in accountability groups. It creates excitement. It creates camaraderie. It's inspiration. It's a lot of different things, social proof. And it's one of the best things. So we run contests all the time, for different levels, but the car's the big one, and it's our big annual event. And, to see somebody win a car, it's cool. And now we got people knocking us off in our industry. I was just at another conference, and they're giving away a Tesla, which we've given away Teslas too. And it's just, Now everybody's like, but they don't understand the model. They don't understand the model. So they're doing like a drawing for a Tesla. And I'm like, no. That's like, it's cool from a drawing, but what we're doing, you're missing 99% of the good that's coming out of this. Yeah.
No, I love it. I'm like I said, you're one of the few events that I just don't fly in and out for, because I learned so much from everything you're doing. You have your employees are so passionate. They're on their A game. They're so loyal to the brand, to you, to the members. Their experience is fantastic. When you go in, you go all in. That's what I love. The last thing I really want to talk about here is how you made it as a woman, right? Because that's not easy in any industry, but in corporate America, I got to believe IT was, it probably still is, mostly men. Something I'm very proud of. I won an award a couple of years ago for elite women and the impact I had, because I have 4 businesses, and all the businesses, one of my partners is a woman, and I have 150 women that work for me. And I just think that's so important. And so I want, whether you're speaking to a 22-year-old or anyone, how did you navigate? How did you do it? Because there's obviously disadvantages for women. How did you?
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. That pisses me off, because you just insulted every woman.
Okay.
You just insulted me. You said there's disadvantages. You said I'm a lesser being. I freaking hate the word we empower women. I hate that. What do you mean you empower me? How dare you say you empower me? Try to stay out of my fucking way. How about that? All right. So you forgive, you can bleep that out, right? I hate that. I hate that term. You know what? When women,
the reason why I think they're disadvantaged or not lesser,
no disadvantage,
is because it's a man's world. It's a club that they don't want to let women in.
I have never, in my 20 years, have I experienced that.
Good.
And I'm saying that I think if you know what a belief system is? If you believe something that's true, you'll find evidence to support it. So if you think you're disadvantaged and you're being held back, guess what you will see? You'll see people holding
confirmation
you back, right?
bias. Yeah.
If I want to believe that most people are evil bastards who are out for themselves, guess what? I can find evidence to support that. If I want to believe that people are generous, benevolent, most people are good, they want to help other people, they want to contribute.
Pronoia. You know what pronoia is, right?
No.
It's the opposite of paranoia. Pronoia is everyone's out to help me.
Right.
That's
all
what
in how
you're
you want
talking
to look at it. So I have never in my 20 years had anybody say, I'm just not.
So you didn't have resistance. You didn't have a hard time getting in the room.
I had resistance, but I don't think it was because I was a woman. I think what happens is like, there's this, like women will come to me and say, well, we need to help each other because we're women. I'm like, I don't have to help you at all. You don't have to help me. We collaborate because you have something of value. Because if you give me someone, man or woman, who is highly skilled, passionate, determined, persistent, creative, and they work at being the best in their game, then there's nobody who's going to hold you back. I don't care who it is.
I love that.
And, now here's where disadvantage. Now, if I wanted to go play basketball, yeah, I am totally disadvantaged. If I'm going to go in the NBA, my age, I'm up against, 7-8 foot.
Yeah, but so am I, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's okay. That's a real disadvantage. Okay. But to say just because of my gender or my age or my color of my skin or my background, my education, like they're all external things. And there's all evidence that there are people who of all colors, races, religions, backgrounds, educations, if they were true that you had to be raised in a perfect family with 2 loving parents, and then not a single person would ever come out of the ghetto. Right. And that's not
Robin, let me ask you this, because maybe I'm giving the wrong advice. I had 3 interns last year, 2 men and a woman, college. They're going into their senior year, and they were all 3 of all great. The woman, McKenna, she would, when I'd ask, hey, we just had a meeting with Robin. What was your takeaways? Right. The 2 guys would speak first and she'd speak third, and she'd always speak third. And I pulled her aside and I said, I don't want to see you do that. I don't know if it's polite. I don't know if it's how you grew up, but in the corporate world, and this is the advice I was giving her, maybe I'm wrong. I want you to come out. You have great ideas. I don't want, you can't wait for someone to say, McKenna, what do you think? I want you to, step up and have, be confident. Was that the wrong advice?
No, that's not wrong advice, but okay. I'd give that advice. I have men work for me who are timid and won't ask, and they're uncertain and they're insecure and all the rest of it. Right. That's not a woman or man thing. That's a human being thing. So you gave her the right advice. But the other side of that, if I were her, I would want to go last because I want to hear what other people are saying. So it depends on the strategy and it depends on the situation. I have 2 girls, and the last thing I want someone telling them is you are disadvantaged. You are going to have it harder than most. You're going to have to work harder than most because you're a woman. I don't even want that in their head. Right. Because that's giving them a handicap. That's saying, there was an experiment somewhere. I remember seeing this, and I can't remember all the details, so it's a little fuzzy here, but basically they took kids and I forget how they did the experiment, but they got a group of kids together, and some of them, they somehow made them disadvantaged. Like, okay, we're going to run a race, but you got to tie your shoelaces together. And, to this group, and, this group, you got to have no shoes on your feet, and we're going to run across rocks. And they said, and at the end, the way they were, when the kids who had the good shoes and could run, they basically were saying, see, this is the difference between, there's people who are born that they don't have good parents and they don't have education and they're disadvantaged and all this. And I'm thinking, here's what they forgot to say. You don't have to tie your shoes together. Those kids were told you have to tie your shoes together to run this race. They set it up. If I'm running a race and the goal is to win that race and my shoes are tied together, I'm going to untie those damn suckers. I'm going to run, but that doesn't mean I have to stay that way. It doesn't mean, right. If you give me somebody who's super talented, smart, ambitious, hardworking, I don't care, man or woman, it does not matter. I think too many women fall back on it's a boys' club. I can't get in because they don't want to talk to me. They don't I hate the term male dominated. Now, yeah, there are more men in the IT industry than there are women, but that doesn't mean it's dominated. Our language matters. And the minute you start walking around thinking you're disadvantaged because you're Black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, you're young, you're old, don't have a college degree, whatever. There's a million things. We're all disadvantaged. Everybody is disadvantaged in some way. My kids are disadvantaged because they're growing up rich. That's a problem. Because how are they going to be hungry? How are they going to know what it was like when I had to eat, when I was homeless, when I had to buy my own food, had to buy my own clothes? That taught me lessons that my kids probably will never learn, And so there was a guy who was like a top real estate expert. Again, I'm trying to remember some of the, I should have written these down. I know we're going to talk, but he was in a car wreck and lost all use of like, he was paralyzed from the neck down, and he became a top selling realtor in his area. And he would give talks about motivation stuff. And people would literally come up to him and say, you know what? I can't be as successful as you because, man, I don't have that kind of motivation. Like you had that car wreck and losing your ability to move your arms and leg, that was your secret sauce, man. That's what I don't have that. So I can't be successful as you. And he would say, well, I'll tell you what, I'll trade places with you. You can have my car wreck if you want, if I can have your ability to use arms and legs. And so people are always trying to find some external reason for their failure. Look, if you're a woman, you're in whatever industry, what male, because it happens to men too, men, women, where if you're at a place, if you're in a company that is not recognizing your talent and they are not giving you the opportunities, go somewhere else. Start your own business. You could start your own thing. You could be the boss. You can do it, run it, you can pay yourself whatever you want. We're not locked into it. So I absolutely, and passionate, as you can see, I don't.
No, you taught me, and I'm glad, because I don't want to increase the stigma and feed into someone's so no, this was a great learning opportunity, and whether you were just too damn ignorant to realize, right, that there was a disadvantage, but you went from homeless to badass boss bitch. I think that's my title of the podcast.
You know what? I can tell you this, I don't know that she did it intentionally, but my mother and my father never said to me, yeah, darling, your brothers are going to be better off than you. Now, my brothers, one of them no longer alive. The other, I have a good relationship with, but he's far from being, he lives paycheck to paycheck. And the third one, I don't even know where he is. He's got involved in drugs and his life is a train wreck. Now, we were raised by the same parents, went to the same schools, same environment, same everything. I'm a woman. Did I have an advantage? They should have been more advantage than I was. But again, I never heard that when I was a kid. I never heard like that, you're a woman.
You're going to have to overcome more than anyone else.
Yeah. And so I was just, if anything, my father used to say, you just got to be one page ahead in the book than everybody else. That's what he used to say to me. He didn't say, darling, you're a woman. And so none of that. My mother actually learned to sell from my mother, because she used to go knock on doors with me when it snowed and we would shovel walks. And she was unabashedly go up, knock on a door and say, can we shovel your walk, and negotiate the deal and get the money. And so they showed me by example, so I think I'm doing more for my girls by showing by example. It doesn't matter what industry, it doesn't matter your woman, doesn't matter what your looks are, attractive, not attractive, everything can be an advantage and everything can be a disadvantage depending on the situation. And there's not a single person alive today that doesn't have some sort of disadvantage, whether it's low IQ. Some people are just born with higher IQ.
PTSD from whatever.
Exactly. Physical disabilities, mental disabilities, drug addiction. Everybody's got things that are negative in their life. And to just break it down to something as simple as your race, your gender, your religion, people are more complicated than that. Like, someone is successful for a number of reasons, not just because they're a man and I think it's insulting to men to say, well, because you're a man, you should be more successful because it's easier for men in business. I can tell you right now that a lot of my male clients who are running business, they have every bit as much a challenge problem as the female.
Yeah. Where I used to get insulted, Robin, was when the kids were young and someone would say, where's your wife? I'd say, oh, she's out of town this weekend. And they go, oh, you're babysitting?
Yeah, right.
Freaking babysitting.
It's called parenting. Yeah.
Right. Like that. I'd be like you. I'd be like, what do you mean I'm babysitting? Like, you ask my wife if she's babysitting when I'm out of town? No. Like, how horrible is that? But no, listen, Robin, I always learn so much from you. I appreciate what you've done. I think the value you bring in this podcast and so many is your story, your perseverance, how you built your business, and the way you take care of and just add incredible value. Now, for my listeners, if you are an IT, MSP, or any type of technology company, Robin's links will be in the show notes. technologymarketingtoolkit.com and different ways you could follow Robin. She is a ball of fire and she just is brilliant, as you can tell. Robin, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your day and being on the podcast.
No, it's great. I love working with you and your team. I mean, I love your passion, your drive. You've helped our organization so much. I mean, because that is, service marketing starts with the service. And I don't think enough people put attention to it in really dialing it in, making it excellent, making it outstanding. So you have helped us in our organization to take everything to the next level. And if anybody wants to talk to me, if they're on the fence about hiring you, 1,000% yes. I mean, I believe in your company so much. That's why I'm paying you to come and teach my members this, right? I'm not just a customer, but I'm saying, look, we need to bring this to our customers. It's that important. It's that critical. And it's funny because, people selling marketing, selling this, they get all the attention. They think to solve a problem, you just got to get more customers. We just generate more sales around here. And often it's like they're putting their customers into a crappy business with crappy service, with crappy, unmotivated employees. And that's why you're not scaling. That's why you're actually, so I think it's just just kind of like the paradigm shift we just talked about with women and men in this, there needs to be a paradigm shift, I think, for service in America, because I'm telling you, it's not getting better. I mean, no, it's getting worse.
Yeah. My thing, I say that, with the pandemic, the great resignation, the two biggest mistakes companies are making right now is hiring just anyone to replace someone who quit and looking the other way on poor performers that, 5 years ago, you never would have kept. And I say, and this is so hard for entrepreneurs, anyone it's not hard to say, but it's hard to do. But I believe it's better to lose the sale than the reputation, right?
100%. Yeah.
But that's hard because demand is up. And if I just hire an extra body, we can take on that extra client or seat them at a table or whatever. But if you have a shitty experience, I'm never getting you back. You'll never give us another chance. And who knows how many people you're telling versus if I apologize and say we're at full capacity, we cannot take any more today, this month, this thing.
So that way
you're actually going to want us more, right?
We can sell you a membership. So that way, you never have to worry about this again.
Yes, there you go. There you go. I love that. All right, Robin, thank you so much. Thank you, Revolutionaries, for another episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. And we will see you next week.
We love to read your reviews. Please be sure to share your comments and let us know what you're enjoying most on the podcast. And to hear more episodes, be sure to subscribe now on iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening and being part of the Customer Service Revolution.